your book, Queen of Sugar.
Right. Well, the name of the book is Queen Sugar, and it came out in February, and it's the story of a young African-American woman named Charlie Bordelon, who discovers that she has inherited 800 acres of sugarcane land in South Louisiana. And she's from Los Angeles, and, is an L.A. girl and doesn't know anything about sugarcane. So she has to figure out, so she decides to take a chance, and she moves down to this little tiny town in Louisiana and moves in with her grandmother, Miss Honey, and has to figure out how to be a sugarcane farmer.
Right. Now, let me ask you a question. Was that inspired by any real-life events, or what inspired you to write a book like that?
Well, my grandmother, my dad, actually, he passed away a couple years ago, but he grew up in South Louisiana. So that's my connection. And, I didn't grow up going back to Louisiana that often, but I did go back when I was in college and then after college. And that's when I really began to get to know the state and get to know the region and just fell in love with it. And, I've always wanted to write, and this is my first book, and I decided that I was going to set this story in Louisiana because I think it's an interesting place.
Right, Natalie. So I'll let the other hosts ask questions. We actually still can all talk. We're in a quiet place together. Rocky Thunder, you're talking to Rocky Thunder, Big Motor Boss, and the infamous Myron Grace. Loved and hated everywhere.
Okay.
I want to give a shout-out to Holly Watson and Angela Messina at Penguin Publishing.
Shout out, what's up? Well, it is what it is. Hey, so check it out. Let me ask you this. This Big Motor Boss. Okay, I'm going to ask you one time.
Okay.
How many sugar canes have you eaten?
How many sugar cane have I? Well, I haven't eaten that much sugar cane, but I have planted sugar cane, if you believe that.
Okay. I believe it.
In order to do research for the book, I had to, get out there and plant sugar cane and harvest sugar cane and, just learn everything, learn as much as I could about the process so that I could, make it true for my readers.
Yeah.
So you went down to Louisiana, Natalie, a PhD like yourself, and you planted some sugar cane.
I surely did.
Did. Did it bring back memories? Did it give you an idea what it might have been like to be in slavery?
Yeah, as a matter of fact. I mean, it's hard work. There's no doubt about it. It is hard work. They plant sugarcane down there in August. So you can imagine, being out in the middle of an empty field at 6 o'clock in the morning in the middle of August in Louisiana. How much fun is that?
Whew, man.
Yeah.
I can imagine that. So Natalie, your other trait, you definitely are not you're a very distinguished young lady, a young author, because you actually won quite a few awards while you was going through your growing process as a writer, right?
Yeah, that's true. Well, the book took me 11 years to write. So, in the process of writing the book and researching the book, I went back to school and got a master's, 2 masters actually, one in Afro-American Studies, and then I went back another time and got my master's in creative writing and MFA. And that's really because I wanted to figure out how to write. It's possible to just sit down and write a story, but there's a lot of things about writing a book that I didn't know when I started, and I figured I better get back to school and have some experts teach me what to do. So that's what I did.
Well, wait a minute, hold it. We got a collegiate class for African Americanism?
Yeah.
Wow.
At UCLA, they have a master's degree in Afro-American Studies, and you can focus on anything. So my focus was literature, but you can focus on, history or sociology or psychology there are lots of different disciplines.
I hope y'all hear that, world. I Hope y'all hear that.
Even though it's kind of weird, and we always talk about the technology that we use, they listening to us like 17 million plus people in 30 countries around the world, Natalie.
Wow.
So it's just amazing. I just want to say how we can just sit here in a car and do an interview with one of the most distinguished writers that Penguin Publishing published, which is Natalie Baszille. And they listening to you in Africa too, Natalie.
Wow, that's cool. That's
Nigeria, Senegal.
Wow.
Madagascar.
Wow. Well, I want to say hi to everybody out there. You guys have got great listeners.
Thank you.
So what would you say to somebody, Natalie, who trying to come up as a writer or who doesn't have the courage to maybe take that next step that's necessary to become a writer?
You know, I would say two things. Read as much as you can. Read everything you can get your hands on because, you know, every book teaches you something different about, you know, the way stories are written, about character and point of view and all this kind of stuff. So, you know, people make the mistake of thinking that being a writer is just, you know, sitting down and tapping out a story, and that's not really it. You really have to, you know, try to read widely, you know, so that you can get exposed to all kinds of different authors. So I would say that that's my first piece of advice. And my second piece of advice is, you know, you have to believe in your work because so much about publishing, you know, whether it's self-publishing or going through, you know, a traditional publishing house like I did, so many of the rules about publishing have changed. And so you've got to find people out there who believe in your story, who share your vision, and you just can't give up. You know, you've just got to, if you believe in your work, you've got to just keep pushing, keep looking for those people who understand what you're trying to do. And, you know, eventually you'll make it. But it's like being in the music industry, right? Or you know, any of those other creative industries. You know, there are a lot of people out there, but you can't let that deter you, you know. You just have to keep going.
Absolutely. I definitely understand that, Natalie. And it's funny that you mentioned that because there's so many people who don't have the desire to be in the music business because they don't want to take that next hurdle, that necessary hurdle, or become a writer like Natalie Baszille because they don't want to take that next step that's necessary to make sure that they make it in their craft. So I completely agree with you on that.
Yeah. And you have to be patient too, you know. I mean, you have to be aggressive and patient all at the same time. You know what I mean? You have to be willing to pay your dues and learn the craft. You've got to learn the craft. It's just like music or you know, any other artistic form. You know, you have to put in your time and stay committed. You know,
I'm gonna give Rocky. We want to do Natalie Baszille. We want to first ask you, how can people get in touch with Natalie Baszille?
Well, they can contact me on my website, which is www.natalie, Natalie, Baszille, BASZILE.com. And if they go to my website, then they'll, you know, see all about the book. They can read a little bit about me, and my contact information is there too. So that's the best way.
Okay.
Or on Facebook. They can contact me on Facebook.
BASZILE, NatalieBaszille.com, right?
Right. And then I have an author page on Facebook, so they can write to me there.
Right. I mean, you seem like a wonderful writer, Natalie. We usually have a lot more fun, but we're going to definitely try to induct you.
Hold on. The phone is cutting in and out. Back up off the phone.
Okay. We want to induct you into the Midnight Hour Hall of Fame.
Okay.
It started with Marilyn McCool and Billy Davis Jr.
Wow.
So I'm going to give Big Mo the honors of inducting you into the Midnight Hour Hall of Fame.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
All right, Natalie, you ready?
I'm ready. What do I have to do?
All right. What you have to do is anything that comes to your mind to do. You have 30 seconds to do it in. And what it is anything you can not just talk or not just do a shout out, whatever, but you can sing. You can clap. You can't dance because we can't see you dance. But you can sing. You can do rap if you think you can do it. Poet.
Oh man, you guys are putting me on the spot. Okay.
Yeah, we gotta put you there. We gotta put you there
on the Midnight Hour Radio Show, Hall of Fame.
Okay, let me know when I'm ready. Let me know when you're ready.
You're ready.
Are you ready? Okay, I'm gonna do Moody's Mood for Love by King Pleasure. How about that?
Go.
There I go, there I go, there I go, there I go, there I go. Pretty baby, you are the soul that's not my control. Such a funny thing that every time I hear you, I never can complain. You give me a smile and then I'm wrapped up in your magic. Music all around me, crazy music, music that keeps calling me, but so very close to you, turns me your slave. Go on, do anything you want to, anything, baby, just let me get next to you. Am I afraid, or do I really see heaven in your eyes? Bright as stars that shine up above you in the clear blue sky. Okay, I can't remember anymore.
Yeah. Good job.
That's right, absolutely. We just gonna go with that right there, Natalie. We love to have fun. That's one of the things we know for.
Yeah, but hold on. Let me tell you what you won. You're door number 2. You won a chance to come in or to call in the Midnight Hour Radio Show at 1490 ALWERE any Saturday night between 10 p.m. and 12 midnight at your convenience. So that gives you the key to the show. And when you call in, we will host you along with whoever else we have on the show that night.
That's cool. You got a deal.
All right. That's what fine. That doesn't mean you have to just call in. You can also come in if you happen to be in Cleveland at that same time.
All right.
All right.
You know what, Natalie, we really had a lot of fun talking to you via satellite. We want to thank you for coming on the Midnight Hour Radio Show. And maybe if you write another book, you can come back on and join us again.
That's cool. All right, you guys have got a deal. Thanks for having me.
Natalie Baszille,
we won't be in the car
on the Midnight Hour Radio Show.
All right.
All right, guys. Thanks so much.
All right.